Hello, and welcome back to my video channel. Y'all really liked the other video that I did of it. There's things working, okay? I really don't know what is going to become of this channel, if I'm going to keep the series or not, but hey, let's just ride the wave right now, the wave of everything that's with life right now. I want to talk about the wrong. Is it wrong? We don't know if it's wrong. I guess it can be wrong of like influencer marketing business. There's a fair share of wrongs. Sorry, I should probably like set this up before I start talking so I'm not making y'all dizzy, right? No, that's not a good view. All right, there you go. Yeah, it's interesting of how influencers run like their business and everything. I guarantee, like, I don't trust influencers businesses for many reasons. And it's sometimes not ethical in my sense of, what is right and how they curate their things, especially when shit hits the fan and they get into a scandal or they have somebody that doesn't like their product, blah, 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 right? So they think they're eating, they ate the clapback, and it's not pretty sometimes, especially when they're like, sorry, this is why I'm not a YouTuber, especially when they're like, my name's Liana. I don't know what is wrong with me right now. But yeah, it's so weird that I don't know. And I guess what you can do with money and things is just, it doesn't sit in a natural sense, And like me, I'm trying to make shit up that makes sense. But when you run a business, it's not technically how much money you make. Especially with the personal brand, it's more of how you put yourself out there. That's why it's very careful of what you do online and what you say online or whatever. Not necessarily to say, but especially if you're making videos, it's really, 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 really bad if you perceive one way and you're not that way, And that's why it's not necessarily good when you're clapping back at a sense of a response, right? It's not professional. Because like if you were to work at a company, you want to out the company that you work with because you want to keep your job, right? So it's pretty much the same way when you comment on an Instagram comment, right? And so best practices is just that you can't ignore it, or the way I see it, because of how I don't think influencer brands are always bad, because like guarantee like you're giving input on how to make your customers appreciate your product. And I do want there's one influencer that does it really good. Her company name is or something like that. But it's an active where she designs her own things and she really curates to her audience. But it can come to, not saying that's not that bad, but you could do but so much to make everybody happy, and that's where I fear is like over analyzing, because I'm always analytical when it comes to responding because of being in band critiques and things like that. And so like I like constructive criticism, but it's also how you perceive the constructive criticism, right? And so I just think that it's a working process, and these are people that don't necessarily have the knowledge of business and background. And so that's why like I want to do it the ethical way. Sorry, I cannot speak. I'm really bad in English anyways. But with that, you can do but so much, like I said, to make somebody happy. Not everybody's gonna like you or like what you do, or they're gonna point out one negative thing or one bad thing, to ruin your day, right? And my way is, it's just like, you can improve with influencers. They have it good because they can improve, but they sometimes want to take it and think it's haters, and it's really not that at all. Like, say if I made something and somebody say, I don't like the texture of whatever I did, or I don't like how I'm doing something with my business or whatever. I take a step back, I analyze the situation, I compose it, I, redirect what can make it better. Those are the steps of how you can improve your business based off of audience inputs, and it's real time good information as well too. And it goes back on of like, we can grow, businesses it can be a net positive for growth, especially with social media and everything of technology nowadays. There's no way of businesses failing. If it is, it's a you problem. I don't know, but it can be hard when you are really small and you're trying to get out of that small space. And you can make money in a sense, but it's also kind of not safe in a sense, Granted, with a person that has 10 followers than a person who has 100K or 10K followers, but not even breaking the amount of views. But it's better for the person that has 10 followers, but breaking that amount of 10K views, because they're getting more attraction, And then eventually, even though it does sucks eventually, but eventually those will cater out. But you don't want to look at it as you're failing, because you're really not, in a sense of, if you have 10 followers, but 10 subscribers, whatever, and you're only getting 100K views, that's good. That's growth. For as somebody who has 100K followers or 100K subscribers, but only have 10 views, that's an issue, so you have to really look in at what you're doing in order to keep the net positive growing, instead of worrying about doing something for the viral moment. Because what are you going to do with that 10 minutes of fame, or 10 seconds of fame, right? It could go both ways. You could turn it into a positive, or you could, most cases, it's a negative of the 10-second fame, right? And with doing a personal brand, you have to be careful of what you do, because that could ruin what you built and worked years off of, like that, right? So you could give what you could take, in a sense. Sorry. I'm not perfect here, okay? You could take what you can give, but you could also receive in order to grow, So I don't necessarily view as of, oh, well, this person hates you. The person don't even fucking know you. They're fucking talking about haters. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. But, I'm only here just to exist, honestly. And existing can be hard, but it's not necessarily being a victim or anything like that. But it only takes you to do the changes in order to grow personally or grow in your business. And that's life in general, and doing it ethically rather than just doing it because you have money. Doing it ethically is better than, like I said, just to do it because you have the money to do it. Because you're just doing it just because, not necessarily like you want to have your own business, right? I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I really don't know, but I've seen like a lot of like drama and, you know, stuff surrounding like with influencer brands and stuff like that. And that's why I'm very iffy of doing what I want to do with growing a business and stuff. But, you know, I gotta also say like that I'm a different type of person and I know who I am, and I can't compare of what they are or how they're at and what they're doing. You know, I have to do and acknowledge what I'm doing, and I know the knowledge of what I'm doing instead of, you know, just doing it, right? To be an influencer. I think the mindset is better to not have that mindset, to go viral or to make money. You know, I feel like the one thing that I didn't want to do is turn a hobby into a business, because I feel like I would get burnt out so easily, and I want to be able to have a business where I can do anything and it still makes sense, you know. And so like I could create something in order to have a purpose, right? And so that's where like I have a struggle of what I actually want to do, you know. And I need to not compare what other people's situations are or whatever, because I know that my core purpose is to build off of ethical practices and knowledge, you know. And that of course takes time, especially because of I'm not doing it just for a viral moment, or I'm not doing shit just because I want to make money, right? I'm doing this because it's one, a brand, and plus I'm putting myself forward as the image, and so I don't want to do anything that will affect me negatively, right? And so yeah, other than that, that's where I'm at right now. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.